Hello, everyone. Welcome to the executive stage. I hope we're going to get the good crowd in any minute. I apologize for the slight delay, but we are here now. So in our executive stage today, we are going to have some amazing speakers coming from different industries, from advertising to consulting to broadcast. And these are the guys who actually run these huge companies and are going to bring a lot of knowledge for not only the startup crowd, but also for the general crowd. My name is Natalia Kiskova. I am a head of co-working spaces for Central Eastern Europe. And more importantly, today I'll be hosting your stage. Before I go on and introduce our first amazing speaker, someone who I would like to introduce you to is, I think after a couple of nights of drinking, I could call him my friend, but more importantly, a tech writer who writes not only weekly for Forbes, monthly for BBC, but also he writes for The Economist, the one and only Monty Munford. And maybe he's coming. Hi, Monty. I thought you forgot to come. Hi.
How are you going?
Good, good, good. I don't think your microphone is working. I don't think he's working, right? Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to listen to him, right? I'm much better, so. So until Monty's microphone gets set up, he's going to be the one who's going to lead most of the discussions with our speakers. I'll be the one cutting them off when they go over time. But more importantly, do you want to try to speak?
Hello?
Yes, you're back. Awesome. Hi, Monty.
No problem. Yes, as you were saying.
So would you like to introduce the stage and what are we going to talk about? And
Well, we've had the bankers, we've had the sponsors, we've had the government. Now it's going to be a bit different, a bit more fun, a bit more inspirational, and we hope to get a lot of information for you, the audience, after asking these great 10 or 12 people in the 7 fireside chats I have to make today.
And I promise he's going to smile a bit more, because now he looks a bit grumpy. So would you like to take a seat?
I will do, thank you.
Thank you, Monty. So I would like to introduce someone very special who I met yesterday. He is a passionate runner. He doesn't know what Angry Birds is, which was surprising, but still, nevertheless, an amazing guy who's the chairman and CEO of Pikasso. Also the vice president of FEPE, which is an international out-of-house advertising organization, Antonio Vincenti.
Hello, Natalia.
Hi, Antonio.
How are you?
How are you doing? Take a seat, please.
Thank you.
Hello, Antonio.
Hi, Monty.
So I'll leave
How
you
are
guys to it.
So Antonio Vincenti,
Yeah.
not Vincenti, as I made the mistake earlier. We spoke last night. You've had a company for 31 years. You've seen it all. Tell us a bit about your journey in that time.
Well, I started in the midst of the war, which was a kind of momentum for entrepreneurs. I told you about the fact that we had like some barriers for entry in this period, very special period of the history of Lebanon, where everything was easy in a way or another. It was very much easy to replicate things that were done abroad. And during those years, there was like an effervescence of new companies setting up, and most of them, if not all, were successful. So I can say that I was blessed and I had the chance to live in this very difficult part of the history of Lebanon that was also like a catalyst for my career.
But why was it momentum at that time?
Sorry?
Why was it momentum? Why did companies get momentum in
Because
chaos?
I'm telling you, in the years that followed, everything became much more difficult. After the end of the war, when things became stabilized, you had much more competition. And the prize that you would get from any innovation was diluted with all the expatriates that were back. And you know, creating an event when you're living in a closed aquarium is something, And then when everything comes back normal, it's much more difficult.
I see.
I mean, you know, every period has its advantages and disadvantages.
We were speaking last night over a drink about the decline in print and the fact that we both have ink, not blood, in our veins.
Yeah.
So you saw that coming quite early. So the digital transformation that you've made, when did you begin that? And maybe tell me a little bit about the business over the last 30 years, how it's transformed or changed.
Yeah, I mean, the major change comes from the individuals always. So what happened is a tremendous change in the media consumption. In the old days, you used to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big dailies per country, 1, 2, 3, 4 TV stations, 1 to 10 radio stations. And then, out of a sudden, you start learning about specialized press, specialized magazines, monthly magazines. Then the more you have fragmentation in the press and in the TV audiences, the more the media consumption is diluted. So you can focus much less your target audience. Now what happened with the digital age is out of a sudden, you know, people read much less, they have less time, hundreds of TV channels reach your home, and even more than 100, and even you can listen to radio stations from all over the world on your computer.
Yes.
So this has done a tremendous change in traditional media. The only traditional media that is benefiting from all this technology is out of home.
Out of home.
Why?
Can I just interrupt you one moment? I came here for a job 20 years ago, the Daily Star. It was going to be my first job in journalism. And I bought the Daily Star today, and that is still a fantastic, fantastic newspaper. So keep reading that if you can. Amazing. So out-of-home advertising.
So out-of-home advertising today is a winning medium, and it's a medium towards the future because it was capable, we were capable as an industry to embrace all the new technologies. You know, today, a brand or the service, if you want to sell your product, your service, you have to give something to the consumers. You have to give something meaningful, interesting. And this is based on what? On old news? Not at all. It has to be real-time, contextual. It must be relevant, interesting. And this you can do it thanks to the immense capabilities of digital out-of-home. The big screens in the streets, the smallest screens in the airports and in the malls.
So out-of-home is billboards.
It's everything, yeah. I mean, we started calling ourselves poster advertising when there was the poster and the glue. Then we evolved to outdoor advertising, you know, with the big flexes put on big hoardings, big unipoles, walls. And now we repositioned our industry globally. It started in the US, but then we adopted as a whole this name. It's out-of-home advertising because it's whenever you are out of home that we can touch you. And today our biggest challenge is to see how we can do this convergence between the mobile device and out of home. And this is why we are so well positioned.
And you see out of home as the middle.
NFC.
You see it as the bridge between the two.
Definitely. And this is what you want, or else we would lose a lot of our value as connectors, because the connection between out of home and the mobile is obvious through the beacons, which is the next big thing, through NFC, through all the technologies that you know, the augmented reality, the virtual reality, etc., etc. So you know, even today, I had my colleagues, for instance, in London, they were able to billpost the pollen count in a city. Imagine someone having allergies and knowing that that person should stay away from this park or this street because you have this exact pollen that would trigger an allergy crisis.
So the digital transformation of out of home offers amazing opportunities for technology.
For technology, for young entrepreneurs.
So we also know about the film Minority Report and the ads. And this film has come true, okay?
Yeah.
In Korea, you can go on the metro and put your hand on the store, and then by the time you get home, it's been delivered. I mean, this is all extraordinary.
Absolutely.
So how are you using this new technology at the moment? Are you making it immersive and interactive?
So I'll tell you something. Now we have all the technological means that are within our reach, and we're buying this technology, we're learning how to use it. What's missing is the content. So in the old days, you had the printing houses. Now what you need is digital content. And this is the fantastic opportunity that lays in front of all the young entrepreneurs of Lebanon, for instance, that have enough knowledge to provide meaningful content to the whole world. So they can use Lebanon as a launching platform and have clients all over the globe, especially that now, you know, we're talking about narrow targets. It's very important if you want to engage with the customer to be able to talk his language. So whenever you have an Arabic audience, a French audience, an English audience, then Lebanese young digital people working in this space are able to deliver content.
Where else are you based? You're based in Lebanon, but you have offices?
Yeah, in the Levant, in North Africa, and we just started in West Africa.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. So it's a global world. One of the things that we talked about, Lebanese tech entrepreneurs, I'm amazed that this city functions as it does, bearing in mind its geographical location. We mentioned that the Lebanese and the people in Beirut especially are a resilient population, as much as perhaps...
It's inherited from the Phoenicians.
Yes,
and we had throughout history, like most of the populations, very hard times, but here it was particular.
Like London, Second World War, recovery, we have the same reputation. But you don't think that's enough?
In today's world, not anymore. Okay, I think that young people need much more than counting on their genes and what they have inherited. Because today it's an open world. And I think that everyone is hungry in the world, everyone is competing, particularly the small countries which do not have the scale, but have very big talents. So in the old days, being brave, going to South America, to Africa, to Australia, and conquer the world was enough to be successful. Today, you need to be much more skilled. You have to go out of your comfort zone. And I'm very much worried. I mean, I talk with the utmost respect because I think that the generation that was graduated the last 4 or 5 years has seen only the ugly face of Lebanon, the garbage, all the disillusions, very little motivation, everything is difficult. I mean, they're not lucky, but at the same time, they have a huge opportunity. It's massive, you see, because you can go everywhere. And today you can use it as an offshore base, Lebanon. And then geographically, you're in the middle of a world that counts, where you have a lot of opportunities.
So you can become a bridge like Dubai tries to be a bridge between India and Europe.
That's it.
The opportunities. But you have competition to the south, for sure. Different tech hubs arriving. There's going to be money coming into Malta after the terrible Brexit from my country. Cyprus is interesting. There are hubs appearing everywhere around the world. If you're not a tech hub, you're not a city, right?
Yeah.
So how do you think Lebanon can differentiate itself from other regional tech hubs?
I tell you something, technology has something, it's like Esperanto, you know, this kind of language that never worked, the European one. It's agnostic totally. It has no color of skin. It's nothing, it's only based on talent, on hard work, and always on luck. So I think that today someone who is in, anyway, the new generation has no other choice but to be in technology. You would never today meet someone who will tell you, my dream is to have a huge factory and to do pasta or to build cars or to do even furniture. It doesn't exist. It's things of the past. So today you have as many chances as other people. Now, the edge that Lebanese do have, it's their open mind and their very solid education. So that's the chance, but they have to grab it.
So the
and
talent,
not to lay back.
The talent that comes out of academia or out of universities in Beirut and in Lebanon, obviously.
They are good, but you know what? There is a very quick expiry date. They have to go and confront the world immediately. I mean, every single month or year that passes without you being out there in the cold, in the wild sea, is you're regressing. So it's very harsh. So you have to just run.
So you're encouraging Lebanese students to leave Lebanon?
Definitely.
not
Of
to
course.
stay and make it better.
Not even a single minute.
Really?
That's the destiny. You've got 15 million expatriates and 5 million residents. It's a big chance.
I agree, you have to see the world.
I mean, if you would suggest that to young Greek people, the generation of the 600 euros, would they welcome such a thing?
Maybe.
Would they accept, let's say, to learn Arabic to go and work in Dubai and Saudi Arabia? No. They left the place for, I don't know, for Indians. And
go out, see the world, immerse yourself in different cultures, which is very important.
I mean, the farthest country is only away 12 hours by plane or 16 hours. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. But if you want a tech hub to prosper, you need talent. And you need people surely to build it from the bottom, not for them to leave.
I'll tell you something, you're right, but the concept of Silicon roundabout is a little bit, I mean, it's Silicon Valley, it's a little bit in London somewhere, but you see that everywhere. You see that in Belgrade, you see that in Yerevan, in Armenia, you see that in many northern countries. It's everywhere in the world.
Okay. You have about 450 people globally.
Yeah.
And 150 people here
in Lebanon.
And the people that you have in the Lebanon, are they people that have come back after their experience? Or they are people...
We don't have expatriates. We have, I mean, I have my secret recipes, how to succeed abroad. And I do replicate this model, but now I have learned to learn from every step, because it's not that you can reproduce a model and then it's risk-free. It's not this way. But what we have is that we have here a group of 26 people that wake up, have lunch and sleep, working for abroad. And inside the countries, due to all the particularities of our industry, we always have a local face.
I see, I see. You talk about post-resilience and obviously going to see the world, immersing yourself in cultures. But you said to me last night that maybe the people of Beirut had lost their stamina. So I thought that was quite a controversial thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I travel 150 days a year. I'm confronted to a lot of realities, and I do visit London 4 times per year, which for me today, until the Brexit decision vote, was the most vibrant place on earth where you would feel every
it still is.
quarter things moving forward, changing. You know, when you say, I want to stretch my thinking, I want to think about what's next, I want to have mind-blowing things, when you want to talk about experiential things in our industry, at least, it's in London that you have to be. So if I compare young people living today in London to young people living today in Beirut, well, today, despite the fact that you are connected, it's the connected generation, that you have the satellites, that you are citizens of the world, that you are open-minded, that you speak at least 3 languages, but all that is not enough anymore. The last 4 years were tremendous for the morale of the people, and unless you are extremely motivated, you have your internal weather inside, and you have someone who is pushing you forward very hard, which does not happen here, okay? Everything goes wrong, then you go backwards. And this is why I told you I would like to have, like in the old days, you would send all young people to the army. You have to send them very far away from their families, from their moms, from their girlfriends, from, I mean, everything that is easy, the comfort zone.
But this alleged lack of stamina, you think that's because of the kind of paralysis of the governments?
It's not just one thing. It's not a government. It's a system that is backwards going. It's a whole system. It's a thing that, because you don't have to say it's the others. It's we don't know how to work together. It's something that lacks in our DNA, which is a very big advantage. You know, because the collectivist systems where you have everyone has to advance together, it's also very bad. You don't have leaders, or you don't have front runners or things.
I see. So as a veteran...
It's a very personal view, huh? I have strong views sometimes, and it's...
if everybody was the same...
It has nothing to do with the truth. Now you will have maybe someone else telling you...
I think the next guy's going to disagree. Yeah. So 30 years in business, amazing. I imagine... I kind of disagree with you about the London-Beirut thing. I think both cities are very similar.
Yeah.
I've met some amazing people here, the people that have put on this event for a start, but the people I've spoken to in bars, The food is extraordinary and everything like that. So
The values are fantastic here. It's true.
really.
Culture.
But what would be your message to entrepreneurs apart from leaving?
I mean,
Lebanon.
it's leaving not for the sake of leaving. It should be the base here to employ Lebanese people, to talk about Lebanon, to use it as a base always for a lifetime. But I mean, today, in my days, when I started in 1986, it was from 20, 30 kilometers from this point to 5 kilometers. That was my territory. That's where I was able to move safely. Today, you can move safely on the whole world. You can go bring a client and then come back here to your office and deliver what you have promised to sell and then send it back and bring in the money. So the world has changed, you see how? And the thing is that, to the exception of 10, 15 countries in the world that can be small but have a very large financial scale, we are condemned as Lebanon to have a small scale, okay? So what do you want to do? You have to benefit from all the big storms of the world and all the energies that you can grab from the oceans, the continents, the big countries. This is it.
You think there are leaders in Lebanon?
Sorry?
Do you think it is a country of leaders?
Definitely.
Or is it fragmented?
No, it's a country of leaders.
And in what
It
particular?
goes well with individualism.
But they don't seem to work together, you're saying?
It's in the genes. It's impossible. Hopeless. It will never happen. And if you know, working together is a concept of the multinationals and of the historical materialism, which is communism and socialism. So it's when you want to erase an individual, and then, you know, multinationals, they want to put everyone in a box. So working together is not a real concept that you have inherited from the past. So it's just that when you want to do, you were talking about the government. I told you it's not an affair of the government. It's a problem of related to the system, because we don't know how to work together.
Understood.
This is it.
I'd like to go back to out-of-home advertising,
Yeah.
how it's changed, how you digitally transformed. What are the margins when it comes to creating a huge billboard with interactivity? Are the margins higher or lower than they were?
No, much lower. It's costing us in capex, it's hell.
Yeah.
You know, today the thing is that whenever you reach a new level, a new technological level, there is no way back, because clients get accustomed to that. And the costs are terrible. You can imagine now, before we had unskilled workers working with the glue technicians. Now we're talking about IT managers, people that are engineers, electrical engineers. It costs much more. And the thing is that there is no way back. Our industry globally today accounts for $40 billion. It's 7% of all the global spend. 39% of that amount is today composed of digital out-of-home. It will reach, by 2030, it will be 50%. $1 out of 2 will come from digital out-of-home. It means those big screens. But those big screens, they have a lifespan, which is a maximum of 7 years.
Wow.
You need to provide electricity. You need to have an electric generator in at least 100 countries out of the 200 countries on Earth. You need to have control rooms with people round the clock working. And then you have to, I mean, it's totally a different way of selling. We're not selling locations anymore. Now what we're doing, we're selling audiences. We can sell a 1-hour campaign, a 1-day campaign, a part of the day campaign. I mean, it's a different thing. And you know, it's evolving very, very, very quickly. More and more, we're talking about automation, which means campaigns, they do start because it's 8 o'clock in the morning or it's 6 o'clock. If it's a coffee, you wouldn't want to advertise a coffee at 7 o'clock in the evening. It's a waste of money. And if you're selling a beer, I mean, displaying a beer in the morning, I mean, especially if someone is as serious as you are, usually it would be a counter-advertising.
Personalized advertising.
So this is automation. And then we're talking about programmatic, you know, the DMS, SMPs, all those things. It's machine talking to machines. You have the client with his agency, and you have the suppliers, and everything happens into the machine, the price, the location selection, the time, and the schedule.
But those prices will go down. I remember working for a company at the end of the 90s, and it was something like $20,000 a month for web hosting and emails.
Yeah.
Now it's like free if it's 99 cents or something like that. So those costs will go down presumably.
Yeah.
However, when you're working and existing and prospering in that environment with margins low, does that mean that you have to come up with even more innovative content? Or does it put the pressure on you?
Anyway, in our industry, like in all industries, you have a very big concentration worldwide that is happening. Now you have some strategic industries that are very sensitive, let's say like airline industries, telecom industries, power supply industries, water industries. Ours is also very sensitive because we do talk directly with the mayors. We do talk with the public officials, and usually those guys are reluctant to give to foreigners, to multinationals, rights in their cities. But now, for our big chance, and for the first time in the history, technology has changed everything. We're talking about the concept of smart cities. We are main actors, advisors, counselors to mayors. We are part of that. I don't know who in this room recently visited New York. Now you have those big totems, the Link NYC totems, where you get free Wi-Fi in Manhattan. You've got free phone calls. You have a free tablet, and you can search the web, plus advertising. If you're searching for a house, then you go there, you just log in. It's all free of charge. You will see within a radius of 500 meters all the apartments to let, all the shops to let, all the job opportunities. I mean, something different. So you need professional companies, and this is the opportunity for us.
I understand. In a way, tech hubs and smart cities are the same thing.
Yeah, it's very costly.
It's very costly, but those costs will go down. What I'd like to, have you got any examples of recent Pikasso work? Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah, Pikasso, yeah.
Pikasso. Any examples of work that you've done recently that have been awesome?
I mean, many examples now. It's, we've done many things. I mean, we have installed our first digital screen in 2010 in Beirut. Today, we have we have reached almost 300 screens. Among them, something like 80, 90 large format screens.
Wow.
I mean, something amazing. We're playing a total different ball game than our competitors in all the countries where we are present. We have put very high stakes for us. What we want is to be fitted to compete globally, although we're very small as a group. If you take us on the global map, we're maybe in the top 50s of the companies, but I mean, it's a fraction of the global leaders. But in terms of scales, and this is what I'm proud of, and I'm happy of, and this is what I'm looking forward up to, is at least to play a perfect game.
Yeah.
Or else it wouldn't be fun.
Well, I think there must be huge opportunities for you within the smart city ecosystem. With out-of-home advertising. You've got traffic, transportation, you've got sensors, you've got all types of ways.
Definitely.
I hadn't thought of that before. That's really interesting to me. We have 2 minutes left, and this is not, unfortunately, not a conference where we can take questions, but I'm sure Mr. Vincenti is available in the public domain. I'd just like to kind of conclude by offering some advice to the entrepreneurs here. Apart from the resilience thing, they need to become smarter. They need to be surrounded by...
No, they're very smart.
Oh,
they
they're
don't
very
need
smart.
that.
All right.
I think that, hard work, it's stupid to say it. It's not hard work. It's to have a very deep belief and to be ready to get out of the comfort zone and start by running a marathon. I think if you have the will to reach 42 kilometers, then you are fitted to face everything. Because it's very tough the first time in your life, and then it's so easy. But it's just, for people who think that in discipline, there is a lot of freedom.
We spoke earlier about the millennials or Generation Z, and you seem to think they want something too quick and too fast.
Yeah,
so you suggested
reward.
Be a bit more patient.
Yeah, but it's something that is not related to the young entrepreneurs of Lebanon. It's valid globally, worldwide. It's very difficult today to motivate someone who is 25, 26 years old.
Yeah.
So they are not competitive. So you have to talk to them to motivate them differently. You have to give them something that is meaningful, that is important, which is the environment, the human rights, you know, to take care of the people that had less chance than them in Africa, in Asia, people suffering, people having less chance. And this is very noble, it's very good, and I'm sure that at the end, when those guys will mature, they will become leaders, politicians, decision makers in the next 20 years. Those guys will build a better world because it will be built on less selfish position. They will be able and willing to share. They will be more philanthropists. I think this wave of great people coming from the US will see people like that all over the world.
Last question. Optimistic for the future of Beirut and Lebanon, yes or no?
For the future of Beirut?
And Lebanon.
In my DNA, I can't but answer definitely yes, but under new rules,
Optimism.
not the same rules.
Mr. Vincenti,
Thank you very much.
thank you very much indeed.
So before you leave, Antonio, we have quite a good crowd, and I would like to take a selfie with these two beautiful men. Can we do that? How about we do that? Come on, come here.
And I'll try and smile a bit more.
Yes, awesome. Guys, smile in the background as well.
Hello.
Awesome. So thank you very much, Antonio. I think I don't know if it's that Italian in you, but whatever you were saying, it was such energetic, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well.
Thank you
so much.
Bye-bye.